Okay, unmuted me. So there was the ultimate question about the recording before even we started. That's great. So the recording will be shared in the end with those who are filling our feedback survey. So those people will get access to the recording. Simple as that. Got quite a few people on the line already, and few coming in. So while others are still joining, let me give you a quick overview on what we are discussing today. We'll have Dunia with us, taking us through the digital trends of 2021. Looking at specifically what has changed after the wild 2020, what we should be looking at this year, what should work for your brand, and what you should not miss for any of your brands. I'm personally really excited about this session. So looking forward how that will go. We still have many people joining in. Let's see, what's the time? 1:01. Let's give them one more minute and we can kick it off. Guys, feel free to say hi in the chat where you're from or what companies you're joining from, so we get to know to hear you. There will be definitely room in the end for many questions, so you can go through specific things as well. Hey, Tamara. Well, so we have a few more people coming in. Okay, great stuff. All right, I guess let's kick it off. Krishna, student from India. Hi, Krishna. I guess let's kick it off. Dunia, let's share a screen once again, if it's not.
Yeah, the screen is shared.
Yep. Guys, let us know in the chat if you can see Dunia's screen well. Yes, no problem. All right, so let's kick off today's mini class with Dunia. Before we do that, let me just very quickly introduce first Astrolabs and why we do those mini classes every single week, pretty much. So Astrolabs, many of you are very familiar, so I will not waste your time on this very much. But as you know, Astrolabs is basically helping to develop the Middle East tech and digital ecosystem. We do it in a few different ways. First of all, through our academy, where we provide marketing, coding, and e-commerce courses to both public and corporates. We have a few interesting courses around digital marketing comprehensive course as a basic level and advanced social media course starting next week. So this might be something interesting for people on the line. There are other types of business as a talent recruitment service or licensing and co-working, which is a business units which are helping other companies to start their business in the UAE or Saudi Arabia. That being said, let's move on to what will how this webinar should go on. So just logistics things, feel free to edit your name to as a username or edit your username to your name, so actually we can answer your questions. In the end, there will be room for discussion, so feel free to then open your camera, speak. If in the meantime you have some questions, shoot them in the email, and we will make sure they are answered. Anu will be on the line to help you, and Dunia will definitely make sure to answer all your questions. With that, let me hand it over to Dunia, our digital marketing consultant, who will take us through the 2021 digital trends.
Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here with you guys. Thank you for joining. So yes, as you all know, we're going to be discussing some of the key digital trends for 2021. But before we do that, I just like to introduce myself really quickly. So my name is Dunia. I'm a digital marketing consultant and trainer. I've been working in digital, I would say, over 16 years, which now with the sound of it doesn't make me sound any younger, but it is what it is. I've specialized throughout the last couple of years in digital transformation and performance management. And currently, I'm actually working as a consultant and launched my own firm about 2 years ago called DB Consulting. Prior to that, I worked in several different industries, always working in digital. And prior to moving to Dubai about 12 years ago, I was in Paris, I was in Amsterdam. I'm originally Moroccan, born and raised in Amsterdam, and a couple of years working in Paris, also at the Coca-Cola company. And I call Dubai my home. So that's in a nutshell about myself. Now, the digital trends that we were going to be covering, to be frank, in 2021, expect to see a lot of digital trends because, or thanks to the pandemic, we've seen a lot of things rising. But we're going to just cover the main ones, but not only the main ones, but the ones that actually can help you also integrate those as part of your either marketing strategy or business strategy. And it doesn't matter if you're a marketeer or if you're a business owner, if you're a startup owner, all of these trends are actually going to benefit you. So if I can just ask, I keep hearing these noises and these clicks. So I know if you can just check if all of the, yes, much better, if everyone is muted. Perfect, thank you. All right, so let's dive right in. The first one that we're going to address is the rise of e-commerce. I don't think that comes as a big surprise with the year that we've been through. The second one is what we call social commerce, or another word for it is social selling. And then we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the wonderful world of artificial intelligence, but not so much from a geeky, techie aspect, but bringing AI more into a day-to-day business reality, because AI has advanced so much that today any business really either is using it or can utilize it in a non-geeky way. The fourth trend that we will be touching base on is what we call conversational marketing, a huge one for the years to come. And then we're going to finalize the trends discussion with some key highlights around social media specifically. All right, so first topic is the rise of e-commerce. Don't know what this slide is doing here, but it's basically just recapping what Luca said on, if you have questions, please feel free to just write them in the comments, and then I'll address each one of them towards the end because we will have enough time for Q&A. So the rise of e-commerce. We all know what great year we've been through, and we've all made it, so super grateful for that. But as a direct result of this pandemic, the whole world pretty much got more comfortable with online purchases, especially because, well, there is contactless payment, non-contact pickup options. I just want to share with you quite a funny story that basically sums it up. A couple of weeks ago, my mother, who is in her 70s, reached out to us on WhatsApp, which basically took her 2 years to manage, and told us that she made her first online purchase. She did groceries. I don't remember exactly what she bought. And I was like so shocked. I said, Mom, how did you learn how to do grocery shopping? So it's a famous supermarket store in the Netherlands. And she said, my friend taught me. I said, who? Which friend? And she said the name of the friend. Mind you, her friend is in her 60s and my mother is in her 70s. So this is how big it is. A 60-year-old woman is teaching another 70-year-old woman how to do online grocery shopping. She didn't need her children. And that's humongous. This is the reality that we're in today. And that's only going to become bigger and bigger. So the trend that I'm talking about is not only shopping online for small retailers, but also the use of what we call do-it-yourself e-commerce platforms like Amazon, Facebook Shops, Shopify, Etsy, all of these, and I'll share the numbers with you in the next slide. All of these are getting a lot more popular because they're really, really beautiful solutions for companies that don't necessarily have the means to build an entire e-commerce structure. So when you look at Amazon stores, they're an amazing case study, how they give entrepreneurs the benefit of having the Amazon brand behind them. So as you know, you can create as an entrepreneur a direct brand destination in Amazon and use the Amazon URL, which creates a lot of credibility with no added costs. And I think that right now the stores are global, except for South America, a couple of countries in the South America and Antarctica. But I'm pretty sure that in 2021, even South America will have that option. If we look at Shopify, so there's a very interesting survey done by Shopify that I highly recommend that you download. It's free, you can find it on Google. And it actually shows that Shopify, the platform, has shown 71% growth in Q2 2020 compared to the previous quarter in 2020. I don't know if you imagine, 71% growth. And a lot of numbers of merchants added to the platform in Q3. So the company predicts that in 2021, they will only advance this trend. And I don't think it's a bluff. I think that it's really, really going to be the next big thing, all of these DIY e-commerce sites. So like I said, the pandemic has accelerated the shift away from physical stores. Just to put it in numbers, it fast forwarded the shift from physical stores to digital shopping by roughly 5 years. That's crazy. We fast forwarded 5 years. So if you are selling goods, any type of goods, and you don't have an e-commerce platform, I highly recommend that you look into that as an option or as a solution, even if you're selling services. In the first quarter of 2020, department stores, the sales of the department stores and none other essential retailers declined by 25%, but this grew 75% the second quarter. So all of these department stores took a massive hit. However, 60% the entire year. However, their e-commerce grew by 20%. So the reason I'm sharing these numbers with you is just to show you that it's not only the small retailer stores that took a hit. Even the big ones had to reinvent themselves. Even the big retailers like Walmart, Target, Carrefour in the region, they increased their online sales by about 150%. And so they're all finding now solutions to actually have better e-commerce platforms. We all, I think most of us saw the news about Amazon. Amazon, and I would say Zoom, are those big companies that in 2020, instead of taking a hit, just their numbers skyrocketed. They closed their year with 40% sales growth. During a time of pandemic, that's a luxury. So I'm not the type to bore you with numbers, but again, I highly recommend you download the Shopify Future of Commerce 2020 report because it's extremely insightful. It has a lot of numbers, and I'm just going to highlight some of them just to for you to understand even more the importance of e-commerce growth. 84% of consumers have shopped online since the pandemic. 84%. And the story of my mother is not an isolated one. We're not even, this is the new normal. And of those who shopped in store, 38% are doing so less often now than earlier in the year. 53%, just over half of consumers, avoided busy shopping times of crowds in the past 6 months. And still 46% are saying, although they're doing it, they feel uncomfortable shopping in person. So as soon as they actually get over this hurdle, that is a psychological hurdle of shopping online, you will see them to actually merge to online shopping. I just want to touch base a little bit on the young consumers, because obviously not only is that the future, but that also is very, I'm sorry, I know I still hear background noises of people. Thank you. So the young consumers, they also saw the highest shift to online spending. So 54%, just over half of consumers, shifted more of their spending to online shopping. So not only do brands have to adapt to this new norm, but as we will see in the next slides, social media platforms had to also adapt to this new reality and create better solutions for the youth that are actually spending money earlier in their ages. And 67% of the young consumers shifted more of their spending to online shopping compared to earlier this year. So it's I can't even call this a trend, it's a new reality. So with that being said, and tying it back to the story about my mother, it's not only e-commerce, generic e-commerce, there's also an incredible rise of grocery e-commerce. I don't think I've ever seen as many noon cars on the roads in Dubai as now. I don't think I've ever seen as many noon boxes coming not only to my door, but also to my neighbor's door. So that will tell you the reality. Every time I go to my local supermarket, I always see the InstaShop teams. You will see them more and more. They have, InstaShop back on their t-shirt, and they're basically shopping for other people, right? This is the reality. So the grocery e-commerce soared in the second week of March 2020 when the lockdown started happening. But these numbers are still soaring, and it shifted the entire consumer shopping behavior, with a lot more people reverting to online grocery. And like I said, Noon Daily, InstaShop, your local online supermarket. So your supermarket down the building is most likely now also online. And if you look at the Google search interest, meaning the keywords from March onwards, huge peaks in the term delivery. So just to sum up this whole e-commerce discussion, like I said, if you are selling goods, if you're selling services, and you don't have an e-commerce solution, now would be the right time to invest. And it doesn't have to be a huge investment in the sense that you need to build a whole e-commerce platform. There's so many solutions out there for startups or for smaller brands to actually have what you call the DIY e-commerce solutions. Which brings us to the second trend, very tied to the e-commerce. We call it social commerce or social selling. And it all has to do with social media platforms having to adapt. So e-commerce will be a major focus for Facebook, Instagram in the next year. It already was in 2020, but in 2021, watch them. They will come up with a lot more solutions for people to basically be hooked on social media and convert them where they are. So Facebook is about to get more shoppable with a lot more direct buying options, a lot more brands competing for consumers' attention around the newsfeed. I think if you're on Instagram, you can already see the amount of ad posts on top being thrown at you. You can also notice that where you had on your Instagram page the heart, where you could see the people that liked or that started following you, that's been replaced now by a shop button, which pretty much says it all. The first stages of Facebook's big revenue push was already introduced in 2020 with introduction of shops on both platforms, Facebook and Instagram, but it's going to be pushed even further, like I said. This will give every business a chance to quickly build their own digital storefront. It's very, very straightforward. I tried it for one of my clients. They actually have a lot of templates that are very intuitive to use. And the only thing that you need to worry about as a brand, if you do decide to actually have a social e-commerce platform on Facebook or Instagram, is to make sure that it looks pretty, which as a brand you were doing anyways, if you're on both of these platforms. Expect to also see further development of Facebook Pay as the network looks to simplify its one-click purchasing options. And there will be new advertising opportunities that I will explain in the next slides that I urge you to also follow. I think this is going to be a major shift, fueling a new wave of e-commerce activity, which is why looking further into Facebook shops should be a key priority if you are a retailer. So in order to best facilitate the new on-platform shopping experience, Facebook will also make it easier for customers to message businesses from their shop listings. So via WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram Direct, and in the future, customers will also be able to view a business shop and make purchases from within a Messenger stream. And this is going to actually close that entire loop. So there where the consumer today, it's still fragmented. You have this solution, you have this solution. it basically ties back the entire loop. So basically, wherever the customer is, you're going to be able to reach them. We've all seen how brands are using live video on social platforms to showcase products. So whether it's a shoe store promoting their new sneakers, whether it's an influencer trying on a new lipstick or a new face cream, in 2021, the prediction that it will be easier to shop for products in real time. So sellers, brands, creators will be able to tag products from their Facebook shop or catalog before going live. And those products will be shown at the bottom of the video, so people can easily tap to learn more and purchase. And this is going to be a big deal. I mean, I think you can already visualize it. If you can see the image on the screen, it's a mock-up at this point, but I think in a couple of months, it's going to be the reality of things. So I just wanted to share with you a couple of examples that I find really interesting as a case study. The first one is a brand that I really love because I love what they do. They really are an amazing case study when it comes to social commerce or social selling. Their name is Clues. They specialize in selling watches, and they're one of the first brands. I'm sorry, I think I'm just going to check if everyone is still. Can you guys still see my screen? Because I just got an error message. All right, I think we're back. Sorry for that. Don't know why I got that error message all of a sudden. Okay, so going back to Clues. They're one of the first brands that really nailed the social commerce experience. So if you look at their Instagram account, not only does it look very good, so they're still ticking the box of Instagram visually appealing, but also what I love about what they do is they really created this website experience on their account. So here are the screenshots that you see is when you click on one of their posts, it gives you the description. It gives you different types of options. If you like this watch, you'll likely also like this necklace because they're also into necklaces and bracelets. And the beauty of what they do is even when they work with influencers, so this is Iris, not sure who Iris is, but she has like, I think 10 million followers. So she must be big model, but within less than 5 minutes, you can check out what she's wearing, you can put it in your basket, and you close that whole conversion funnel. Less than 5 minutes, that bracelet is yours. This is, I think, where brands are heading towards. The only trick with this is it cannot feel like a website because you are on Instagram, so it still needs to be very visually appealing and not too complicated. But again, if you look at how easy Instagram made it for you to create this platform, I highly recommend that you look into it. Here's another great example. Kate Spade as a brand, they nail the digital marketing. I've been following them ever since they launched online because they're very visionary. Everything that they do always is followed by other brands. So they're truly trendsetters when it comes to that. A couple of months ago, what they did is in collaboration with Anna Kendrick, who's an actress, they created these mini episodes. And in each episode, the actress is wearing the products of Kate Spade. And at the end of the episode, it displays an invitation for the viewers to purchase the items. The episodes, okay, it depends if you're into that type of stuff. They're quite quirky, they're funny because she's a funny person. So it makes it at the same time very engaging and very aspiring. So highly recommend you look into Kate Spade as a case study overall for what they do in digital. Social shopping is not only the examples that I showed you, this spring, a brand that specializes in lifestyle, what they did is they integrated a chatbot as part of their customer journey. What does that mean? Basically, it's your personal assistant. So not only do they have this beautiful online shopping also on Instagram, but they tie it with a bot that basically takes you by the hand and takes you through the entire journey, asking you, what is it that you would like to purchase today? Is it sneakers? Is it boots? What is the color? What is your shoe size? What is the price? And this is extremely important because, again, this is where we're heading towards a more conversational, more engaged relationship with your consumers. This brings us to that next trend. And like I said, I promise I'm not going to make it too techie or too geeky. The wonderful world of artificial intelligence. So to be honest, I've been hearing artificial intelligence, that buzzword, for a couple of years now. And every year I say, okay, all right, it's trending. It's trending. What can we see? What exactly as a brand can I do with this? As a marketeer, aside from chatbots, what can I do? Well, again, 2020 just really made everything a lot faster. Pre-pandemic, artificial intelligence was already poised for a huge growth. Now, in September 2019, the IDC, the International Data Corporation, predicted that spending on AI would grow more than 2.5 times to 97,000 billion by 2023. These are big numbers, not unrealistic numbers. Since then, COVID has only increased the potential. I'll show you a couple of examples what I mean by AI. Just as a note, 2 out of 3 consumers are already using AI without even knowing they are interacting with chatbots. I'm sure that some of you might have spoken to your bank thinking that you were talking to a human being, but it was a chatbot. Today's chatbots are very advanced. We are far from the days where chatbots sounded like robots. So for artificial intelligence, we have known it so far already because it's been implemented in things like basic communication, the example that I just mentioned, product recommendations, content creation, email personalization, e-commerce transactions. But I do believe that businesses adopting AI in 2021 will be able to cut staffing costs and accelerate growth. And that is going to get them an edge over their competitors. So what we are actually talking about in this session when it comes to AI is things such as chatbots. So I'll just explain a little bit the situation around chatbots and what brands are doing with chatbots. Voice search, big one in 2021. Hyper automation and what we call the artificial intelligence of things. It's a mouthful, but I will explain in detail what that means. With that comes increased use of cybersecurity and data protection. So what I'll do right now is I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen because I want to really look at your faces and just free flow and just explain it in a more free-flowing way. And I'm just going to change the view so that I can look at all you lovely people. All right, here you go. So we're going to start by talking about chatbots. So chatbots, the predictions are that 85% of customer service by end of 2021, 85% will actually be chatbot led. Now, the benefits of chatbots are pretty straightforward. You have 24-hour service, instant responses to inquiries. It can answer simple questions, but I have noticed that the more advanced chatbots today can go beyond just the simple questions. It saves a lot of costs for companies. There is a customer satisfaction to having an ad hoc response, but also it does give the consumer the feeling that you're being a more interactive brand. There's a survey done by Gartner. Again, you can find it in Google. If you're interested, you can just ask me in the comments, and I'll be happy to share all of these surveys and reports that I talked to you about. By 2022, chatbots will help businesses save over $8 billion per year. Not far-fetched as a number. And I think, like I said, 80% of the businesses would want chatbots by the end of this year. 50% of enterprises will spend more, I think, on chatbots than on mobile app development. So if you're already in this conversation in your company, should we invest in an app or should we look into another solution? Obviously, depending on the objective, I would highly recommend you also assess the solution of a chatbot, because I'm telling you, the chatbots today are very far from the old-fashioned chatbots that we have in mind. And what is beautiful is that you can integrate them with your social media solutions. So that's in a nutshell about chatbots. And again, we've been hearing about it for a couple of years, but I think this is the year where chatbots are going to be widely utilized. The next one is voice search. So whether it's asking Siri to set your alarm or Alexa to play some song or tell, I don't know, Cortana to open a specific document, which I did this morning, it's the new norm. It's not some sci-fi thing. I was talking to my sister, I think it was it last week or 2 weeks ago, and I heard this weird female voice in the background. I'm like, what was that? And she said, oh, that's my fridge reminding me that I have a meeting in 15 minutes, so I got to hang up. I was like, what just happened? She said it in the most natural way, and it is the most natural way. Fridges today talk, and you don't have to be a millionaire to own a talking fridge. So people love conversing with voice bots. They're like your personal assistant. They do everything without talking back at you, without having an opinion, except Siri. Siri has a lot of opinions. Although voice search, it started in the beginning like more of like a grocery store list aggregator and note taker. I think that consumers now are using it in very different ways, asking for, play my favorite song, dim the light, ask questions, get directions, translate the sentence into a foreign language. So just to give you an idea, over 1 billion searches globally are made by voice. Isn't that crazy? 1 billion searches. The next one, and this is where it gets a little bit geeky, but I'm going to keep it light just for you to understand the importance of it. It's hyper-automation and what we call AIoT, so the artificial intelligence of things. This is combining robotic processes automation with artificial intelligent technologies. And I really believe this is the next wave of digital transformation. It's the power and utility of automation. It's been known for a while, but because of the pandemic, it just took it a step further. It became quite instrumental in smoothing the disruption to office workflows. So the artificial intelligence of things, just for you to understand, it's combining Internet of Things, which we all know what it is, and artificial intelligence. So in other words, one of the 2021 AI trends will see the rise in our smart tech getting smarter, even smarter. And a lot of brands are already getting ready for that. With AIoT, basically internet connected devices will be able to learn from the data they collect or understand your speech without shipping the data off to the cloud. And I promise that's as geeky as it gets. To give you an example, what does this actually mean? It's smart office technology. It'll be, for example, able to detect who's in the office, but also making the decision about lighting and heating in order to save energy. Or an example for domestic, and a domestic example, the fridge. A fridge will be able to scan the content and suggest recipes using the food stored inside. And this is not a far-fetched thing, because a couple of years ago, if you would tell people my fridge is going to talk, be like, what world do you live in? It's coming out of a science fiction movie, right? But I really believe that 2020, some companies will push AI to new frontiers. They will have no choice because there's going to be also a cost-saving conversation that needs to happen. So think of AI for intelligent document extraction, customer service agent augmentation, return to work health tracking, semi-autonomous robots for social separation. It's sky's the limit, really. So the only thing with this is that organizations that are going to be adapting this into their business model, they will need to find a way to apply AI safely and ethically, which brings me to the next important conversation, which is the increase of use of cybersecurity artificial intelligence. And by that, I mean the use of AI-powered cybersecurity tools to actually grow AI trend, right? So think of artificial intelligence in a way to help with the detection and prevention of threats. So identifying patterns, learning to spot fraud, all of these wonderful things will have to go hand in hand. But if it is not done in an ethical way, it's going to cause major issues. We've seen in 2020 also social media platforms getting a lot of backlash, and there is going to be a lot more ethical discussions around this topic. So I'm just going to share my screen again to discuss our next topic, which is a whole different topic, all around conversational online marketing. So what I mean by this is marketing today still is, I still feel it's a one-way street, and it will become, because it has to become more of a two-way street. It has to reveal more the human side of the brand, and brands will have to become more transparent, more authentic, because there's a need of that, because psychologically consumers changed their perception of things. So in 2021, expect brands and platforms to engage, like I said, not only more in AI-led opportunities, but also find a better connection with consumers. Now, what does conversational marketing look like? I think the best way for me to explain it to you is just take you through a quick animation that will do a much better job than having 10 slides. So the marketing today, still, us as marketeers, we have to change. Why? Because the world changed, because the world will keep changing. Humans changed. Everything is getting more immediate. Everything is getting more urgent. Everything is happening in the now moment. There is a lot of noise. A lot more brands went online. Like I said, if I am a consumer, I'm going to want it now. But at the same time, everything is also getting a lot more intimate. People really want to be more personalized with the brand. So as a brand, you need to understand your consumers better. You need to not necessarily know their name, but you need to come from a place of authenticity. You need to be more direct with them. You need to be more inclusive. Why? Because already the consumer's behavior has changed with the interactions, the day-to-day interactions. You talk to your family on WhatsApp, you message your friends, you don't have that proximity maybe that you had before. Even with your grandmother, you can't see her anymore. So when it comes to marketing, I still feel, unfortunately, things are still more static. It's still more one directional. It's still too much in your face. It's definitely still too slow, not reactive. Consumers don't want to wait 48 hours before you get back to them. And it is still quite impersonal. This is what we call inbound marketing. I've seen some brands drive some incredible results. However, inbound marketing is not a new thing. All right, we've already been seeing consumers want a change behavior. They want you to always be on. They want you to always be there. They always want you to know who they are, always ready to help. So inbound marketing is actually a new dimension of marketing that is called conversational marketing. It's basically taking it a step further. These are a couple of examples of what it looks like. This is a live chat on website, which a lot of brands already have, but instead of really making it feel like a brand, you're going to humanize it. This is an example of what it would look like for a chatbot. And last but not least, what it would look like on Facebook Messenger. This is a whole different approach because this really needs to be part of your ecosystem. The conversations are happening offline, and now consumers want the same kind of reaction, the more personalized reaction to happen online, more responsive, more helpful, more direct, more transparent, more human, even if it's a bot. This is something that marketeers have been trying to do for a while. I think 2021, they really will have no choice, really have no choice but to take it to the next level. And this can only work, like I said, if it's part of your entire ecosystem. It cannot just be something that you tick a box on. There's going to be many departments that are going to be included. The beauty of this is most companies, most brands are already doing this. You just have to find a way to integrate it all and make it come to life online. All right, so we've reached the towards the end of the presentation, our final trend, which is the key social media trends. And again, I kept them very brief, very straightforward, so that you can see what you can utilize in your day-to-day business. The first trend that we will discuss is ephemeral content, so temporary content. Just basically reminding everyone that Facebook isn't going anywhere. Video, live streaming, and more regulatory control. I'm going to stop sharing. I feel a lot more comfortable when I can see everyone. So ephemeral content is basically content that is available only for a short duration and then it disappears. Think Instagram stories, think Snapchat stories. These are perfect examples. Today, really, people's attention spans are short, and the way they like to consume content also changed. This is why formats like stories have become popular. So I highly recommend that as part of your content strategy, also include ad hoc content for stories, whether it's Snapchat or whether it's Instagram. The beauty of it is doesn't have to be high resolution. It's very quick production. It's very ad hoc. It's easy to jump on trends with that. So don't shy away from doing that type of content. I hear a lot of people saying Facebook is dead. Facebook is dead. Facebook is not going anywhere. Yes, Facebook, Instagram, they faced a lot of backlash in 2020 because of regulations, but especially because they knew how to convert themselves with social selling. I don't see them going anywhere. If anything, if surveys show that brands are actually willing to even pour more money, inject more money from their media budgets into these platforms. So again, I don't think Facebook is a platform that you need to spend less on. If anything, venture out more on platforms like TikTok. Even though they have also faced some backlash, I think TikTok is here to stay. And I think TikTok will surprise us in 2021 by new formats to really drive competition. Just as a number, I remember that from the survey, 60% of interviewed brands stated that they intend to increase their Instagram budget in 2021. So that'll give you an indication. Video. I can't highlight that enough. Video content will dominate in 2021. And when I say video, it doesn't really matter what type of video. It doesn't matter if it's long form content or short form content. It doesn't matter if it's stories. It doesn't matter if you're on YouTube. More and more brands are going to inject production budget into video and veer away from TVC. That has already been the reality for the last couple of years. But after 2020, it's going to be a big reality for a lot of brands. I have seen a trend that has been dominating a lot in I would say, the second semester of 2020, which is live streaming. I think this is going to become the new norm. Now, because of pandemic, everybody has had to carry out everyday business online. People who may have never used their video camera before are now participating in Zoom like they're seasoned videographers, So it's become very natural to just pick up your phone and just basically carry on your day and say, hey, here's what I'm doing. If influencers started that trend, you will also see now regular consumers do that. So I think it's a great opportunity for brands to jump on that bandwagon. Twitch, the world's leading live streaming platform for gamers, they've recorded record numbers in 2020. There was an increase of 67%, I believe, on 2019 on the amount of people that were streaming. And I'm not just talking about gaming for the sake of speaking of gaming. Even major shopping events are getting streamed online right now. So as a brand, as a company, do venture out and just get out of the comfort zone. With all of that, I just want to sum up by saying, because of all of these big changes that happened due to 2020, we are seeing a lot more platforms getting heated debates around control, legal. We all saw what happened on December 20th last year with Facebook. We read the news about how Apple is blocking certain types of content and asking for the disclaimers. So be prepared to see a lot more companies having to deal with more regulatory control and legal scrutiny. And this actually has to happen. It's actually quite reassuring that it happens, because it's all great that all of these things are popping up and that we have more opportunities of brands as companies to do things online. But unfortunately, the regulatory bodies will have to step up their game. So I think that both TikTok and YouTube have faced greater scrutiny. TikTok's case is widely known. In June 2020, TikTok was actually blocked in India. India, the great, huge market is India. Blocking TikTok is a big deal. So Facebook, Instagram already applying stricter regulations, and I think it's going to only get worse. So it's time to sum up, and I'm just going to share my screen again. There's a lot of information shared today, so I just thought I'll give you some key highlights. If there are some key takeaways from today's session, it would be e-commerce, and some more e-commerce. If you're selling goods and you're not in commerce, now is the good opportunity to jump on that bandwagon. Social commerce, social selling, give it a try. Very straightforward, very easy, especially if you have already some good content. Venture into AI, try out a chatbot solution. Today's solutions are not very expensive. They're not huge investments. And bring the conversation to your consumers. Try to find a better way to completely apply that as part of your holistic strategy. And when it comes to social media, create more snackable content, keyword, buzzword, video, and try out live streaming. So thank you very much. I think we're going to open the floor right now for questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dunia. We'll definitely look at the questions. We got a few of them in chat. Okay. I'll let that between you and Anu. And before we jump into all those questions, yes, I would just like to follow up on the topic Danial was taking us through with all the interesting stats and facts. You might see on this last slide actually information about our digital marketing course. That's a course we have both online over Zoom like this or in person in our Dubai campus. So if you are interested to learn more about that course, feel free to reach out to us either here on chat or via the form Anu is going to share right now in the chat, so you might find it there. And second course, which I believe for this group is interesting, will be our advanced social media course, which is a 3-week course where you can basically learn about building a social media strategy, auditing social media, and content crafting. This course is starting on 18th of January. So if you are interested in this advanced social media course, again, let us know. We'll help you out to learn more. I see that the feedback form was shared in the chat already, so please take a look. Click on the link, fill in the form. Also, if you want to get a recording, fill in the form. We want to hear your feedback about the session, and we'll help you out then with recording. Aisha is asking if there's a Arabic digital marketing course. Yes, we actually have Arabic digital marketing course. Starting one in February. Just take a look at our website, or again, we can share the link in the chat. Take a look at it. It's starting mid-February, 14th of February, we are starting the next batch. It's usually mainly oriented on Saudi Arabia, but it's online course, so you can join pretty much from anywhere, and there all the content is in Arabic. All right, with that, over to Anu and Dunia. Let's look at a few questions we have. We have some great feedback from people, but also a few questions, so let's look at them.
I'm just going through the comments to see if I can spot the questions. Maybe Anu, if you already have them, if you can just ask them, it'll be easier. And
absolutely, I will just, yes. So question number 1 is by Raja, and Raja asks, are artificial intelligence bots not a pain to interact as consumer, as they're too trivial and immature currently?
So it's a very good point, and this is what I was saying in the presentation. Today's bots, you'd be surprised, there are actually solutions there that are quite advanced, that some big brands are using, that even banks are using, that you will hardly feel frustrated that you're talking to a bot. Now, obviously, it depends on the objective, right? You cannot over-expect a bot to be your human solution. So I think based on the objective, if you do find the right bot partner, I have worked with a bot solution in my previous job. That was actually quite amazing.
Cool. Next question, Arishba asks, with regards to Facebook, there is huge difference in the audience interactions in organic way. Apart from ads, is there any organic way to tackle it?
So again, good question. Facebook has changed a lot of its algorithms. And now I always say this word, I don't know if I invented it, if it actually exists and I picked up on it. I call it Facebook Zero. Facebook Zero basically means it doesn't matter if you have 10,000 followers, you're lucky if 2% of your followers can actually see your content. What that means is if you're not pushing it with media, most likely your followers are not going to see it. Instagram, we're still lucky that we're not at a Instagram Zero, but already Instagram in the last 2 years has been changing their algorithms. And basically, if you are following people, you might have even noticed that some of your friends or the people that you're following's content cannot be seen. So to answer your questions really shortly is you need to have a paid strategy, even if it's only a minimal investment. And you also need to interact with other accounts, with other brands, maybe do partnerships, maybe work with influencers that are relevant, right, to your business. But in a nutshell, to say that organic is a thing of the present, I think that is no longer relevant. I've seen with a lot of brands that I work with, if we don't have a media push, even if it's a small one, we're not moving the needle much.
Cool. Another question, can chatbots be bilingual and detect languages?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. The only thing that I want to say as a disclaimer, when it comes to Arabic, it's still, I feel personally, a little bit backwards. It's not 100% the European languages. It's not 100% the English language, but they're getting there.
Got it. Cool. And I believe the last question from Krishna. I want to start freelancing as a digital marketer. I'm quite familiar with SEM and PPC. Can you recommend me how to head start?
Your network. It's all about your network. If you are ready to become a freelancer, that's great news. I highly recommend it. But I can only talk from my personal example. I had to have years and years of credibility and build a big network, and your work should speak louder than yourself or your CV. So that's what I recommend. Reach out to your network first. And as a freelancer, all you need is one first client. You need your first client. That's it. Once you have your first client, you're in.
Perfect. I guess that was it. That was the last question. Hold on, there's one more. Do you need a certain amount of followers to set a chatbot?
Do you need a certain, no.
Okay. Cool. Perfect. I guess that was it. Oh, there's one more that just came in. Are there any B2B specific strategies for conversational marketing?
I'm not sure I really understand the question, so I want to do it justice. I don't want to just answer for the sake of answering. Duncan, can you unmute yourself, or can we unmute Duncan so he can have an opportunity to ask his question?
Yep, 1 second. Duncan, just 1 moment.
Hello.
Duncan, go ahead. You can speak.
Hello, Duncan.
Hi. Oh, so we work in the services industry, so we're mostly doing B2B. Hi. Thank you for the presentation. It was very good.
Thank you.
So we're mostly working in the B2B area, and a lot of the conversational marketing stuff seems to work a lot for B2C. Is there anything that services or B2B services-based company can do to take advantage of the new changing environment?
I will start by answering your question with something very, very straightforward. Whether you're B2B or B2C, you're still dealing with human beings. And it's these same human beings who changed their behavior. It's a mind shift because of the pandemic, because of the reality we're in. You're dealing with basically the same human beings, but with human beings that now have a different mindset. And so whether it's your B2C or your B2B interaction, this human being still wants to be spoken to in a certain way, still wants to have a more authentic approach. So the strategy might be different from a content point of view. The strategy is not going to change from a strategic way of looking at how you deal with a human being, if that makes sense. So let me give you an example, Duncan. If you are interacting with a business partner, that business partner is still going to want you to come across as authentic, come across as being helpful, being there, being responsive, being inclusive. So it's all about looking into how do we approach our partners and what is the language that we're using and how are we actually making them feel more included as part of what we do before we can even think of selling them anything.
Perfect. Sounds great. I think that brings us to the end of the webinar. Thank you so much, Dunia. That was actually quite interesting, and I'm sure a lot of practical takeaways for entrepreneurs, for people working in marketing, trying to understand how to kick off the year with the right strategies. And I'm sure everybody got a pretty brief insights on how to take it from the very beginning of the year. Anything you'd like to end with,
So there's one last question. We have 1 minute. Do we want to?
Yes, please go ahead.
Can I just ask again, what was the video? Is there a link to watch the full video? Thanks for a great presentation. Thank you. There is definitely a link that I can share. It's actually a great animation. I didn't even play it till the end because of time, but I will share it with Astrolabs that can maybe share it. I don't know how it works, Anu, but I'm happy to share it.
Yes, definitely. So for a lot of people who are asking where can we find the link for this webinar, you can see it on our YouTube channel, and it'll be on the meetup page as well. So pretty easy, search for Astrolabs, and then you will see it being the latest one with the title that it was for today, Digital Trends. Cool.
I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to thank everyone for having the patience and listening to all that I had to say. I really appreciate everyone. Thank you so much, and have a lovely end of the day.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining, and we will hopefully see you soon. Do not forget to leave your details on the feedback form so that we can give you more insights about the other courses that we do, specifically on digital marketing. So it's pretty easy. It'll just take you less than a minute, and then one of the team members from Astrolabs will get in touch with you and take it from there. All right, then have a wonderful day ahead and a wonderful year. Thank you. Thank you, Danial.